Well, everybody. It is good to see you all in here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me on Track Tuesday Creative Rails Style. First of all, I want to give a little thank you to Wilmer, my pal of Indian Head Valley Railroad, for the shout out for my show tonight. And then, just before this started, I saw Sparky's shout out for Creative Rails. That was really cool to see that. Really cool intro. Sparky, it meant a lot that you did that and you've recognized that, yeah, this is based on a lot of where you're from, which is pretty cool. So the cool part is, Chesley right here, this is Bruce County. And when we get into Owen Sound and stuff and up in here, this is called Grey County. So it's Grey Bruce. That's where I'm from originally. So yeah, let's jump into it, guys. Let's go on into the chat room screen and say hello. All right, so Nathan's here. Glad you made it, my friend. We got Vinny, BNSF6951. Wilmer, hello. Big G's. I've subbed you recently, I believe. Your stuff's been coming up. I've been watching your videos. Really good stuff. I don't know if we've interacted on here before or not. So welcome, man. Thanks for joining me. Did you come over from Sparky's channel, I'm wondering? I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen you live on here before. But anyways, thanks for joining us. Nora, good to see you, man. Inked Rails. Good to see you, sir. We're going to be talking about you in a little bit. And I gotta apologize, Inked Rails. I didn't realize who you were the last live stream. I think your old name, it was something Canadian Model Railroader or something. I can't remember. But if I remember right, you were modeling Parry Sound, which is really cool. That's my wife's mother's hometown is Parry Sound. And her little history lesson, her grandfather, the guy that I talk about that fired for the CN engineer, he was a hockey coach way back in the day, and he coached a young man named Bobby Orr. Yeah, 100% true story. And okay, here we go. Why Are You Naked, Rob? Good to see you, my friend. John 2618, so glad to see you, man. As you know, I'm a big fan. Dude, I didn't even read that. I'm really sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, John. John's saying he lost his grandmother to the showstopper. That's too bad, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Anyways, yeah, our condolences out to you, buddy. I'm really sorry to hear that. That's too bad. Anyways, we'll keep going here. Sparky, hello, sir. Once again, thanks for the shout out. Nancy, I haven't seen you in a long time. Really nice to see you. Georgia Sunbelt, Anthony, you're on here. I'm kind of scrolling through here. I hope I'm not missing people. We got Heath from Humanity Junction, sorry. He's got some really cool videos coming out. He's a really good editor and a really good YouTuber on top of Model Railroader. So it's good to see him. And there's William from the New Fenris Railroad. And it's so funny. I've been calling you William the New Ferris Railroad for so long. Peter Engineer, good to see ya. It's Art. Dwayne from Dwayne's Fork and Spoon. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Now I think I've got. Oh, and there's Nate, one of my old faves. Good old Nate. So something, if you guys see this, Nate just reminded me. My shirt I'm wearing tonight. This is my shirt from Steamtown last year. Shane Strains, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, got this shirt last year at Steamtown at our meetup, and we realized that it was just this past weekend that we were there, and it's canceled now. So I heard Sparky, I was snooping around on somebody's live stream the other night. Sparky was on there. He's saying he's going to go for maybe August if he can make it happen. We're not 100%. But we will see. Anyways, thanks to everybody for coming on in. I'll do a little bit of homework. I like going through a few of the other live streams that go on throughout the week, so we'll just jump right on into that. First of all, Monday nights we've got Nate, who I was just talking about, with the Tyadotton Railroad and Coal Company. He's got Narrow Minded Monday. Tuesday, so of course we have On Track Tuesday. Next week we have my pal Dave Thurber from the Crooked River and Eastern Railroad. Wednesday, of course, you guys all know this guy, Sparky 107 with his live chat. And man, is that channel ever looking cool with the helix going in that main crazy long main line. It's so awesome, and he's really flying on that. It's crazy. So anyways, everybody knows Sparky. Thursday, of course, we've got Hot Rod Rodney. He's still going with it. Also Thursday night, and I believe it's next Thursday, we have my pal Chris Ward and my pal Mark from M&M Rails. I think Mark's going to be on there. It kind of depends on the whole showstopper situation. But they do a monthly live stream called Go Via Go Home After Dark. So I believe that's next Thursday. So check in. That's on Chris's channel, Go Via or Go Home. Really good channel. He does a lot of reviews of stuff that's coming out, locomotives, freight cars. It's a cool thing to tune into. Of course, Friday we have our old pal Vinny of BNSF6951. Of course, he doesn't need any help, but I like to shout out. I've always been a fan of Vinny, and I've always tried to tune in as much as I can. Saturday we have Back on Track, which is the cool show, which is a bunch of people. We've got I don't know if I saw him in here. John's on there, and some other guys. Really cool show. Back on Track is a group of them. Really cool. Oh, sorry, you're talking to. I thought you were talking about the other John. Anyways, that's that. Now Sunday night. I was trying to think Sunday night because I was on. So is it Ray Boble? If you guys can help me there on the live chat, is Ray Boble on Sunday night? I couldn't remember. But anyways, that's all of the people that I know of and do for now. If you want, go ahead. If you got a live stream, go ahead and throw it on there. There's Chris Ward right there. Go Via or Go Home. I was just talking about you, man. But I believe your show's next week, right? Next Thursday. So let's just pop up into the chat here. I believe we got a pretty good show tonight. Just progress, what's going on. We're going to talk about all that. So back in here. So there we go. There's John. Everybody's just saying. Okay, so Vinny's saying, I think he's talking about Ray Boble. I also met him at Steamtown last year. He's a cool guy. He's saying that's the last Sunday of the month. I believe that's who he's talking about. Hey, there's Dave. We're just talking about you a little bit too, Dave. It's good to see you guys. Let's go in here. I wanted to talk about our other pal, Redbird Tony. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos, but I tuned in. He had a video, I think it was on the weekend. We had a long weekend here up in Canada. We call it May 2-4. It's actually Victoria Day, but we've always called it May 2-4. Where I'm from, it's has another connotation, the 2-4 part of it. Anyways, that's been there, done that type thing. But Redbird Tony had a big flood in the basement, and I saw him like, oh man, oh no, Tony, no, and the trains are down there and everything, right? But he had an update. I believe it was yesterday. I saw it, or Sunday or yesterday, and he's already. You should have seen what he's done, man. He's cut out. He's cut it into the floor. I don't know if he used a sledgehammer or what he's done, but he's pumped it out. He's gone through the damage. He said it's a lot of books and stuff and magazines, but he's in high spirits. So I just wanted to give you a shout out here, Tony, just to say we're thinking of you, and sorry about the flood, but I'm glad it's all working out and you're doing good. There's the Carver. Carver, just for you, my friend. I've seen your posts on Wilmer's Facebook. We might run a little train tonight. We'll see. Just for you. It's good to see you. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to let Tony know we're thinking. I'm sure he won't be on the live streams tonight because he's probably busy dealing with that. But man, Tony's done a good job. Did you guys see that? Like, he's already hacked into it, and he's got it pumping out, and he's doing a really great job there. So I was really impressed with that he did all that. So, something else I want to do. I haven't done in a while on this this show. Where is it? Oh my goodness. Oh, there it is. Let's do a shout out. Yeah, because I haven't done this in a while. And the person I want to shout out, they don't need really a shout out because they're a big channel and everything, but I thought this guy needed some credit because some crazy things have happened just in the couple past weeks with this guy. So who it is, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. He doesn't need any introduction, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, Mr. Tom Kravac. Kravac, is that how you say it? Tom's Trains and Things. Anyways, that's what I wanted to give a shout out to. On Facebook, on Wilmer's Facebook, it was CDP1965, I believe that's what it's called. He had a video about some problems with a short, and I was trying to help him out with it. And from what I thought, it was a turnout shorting out. Normally that's a frog issue that causes that, but I wasn't 100%. But sure enough, in comes Tom, and he sees it right away. He basically threw in a reversing loop and didn't realize it. I didn't see it. I don't know how Tom caught it so fast, because it was like a helix and it came down and you couldn't see it, and I had to zoom in, and I saw, like, man, Tom, what a genius. So the other thing that happened, now that's what it was. I didn't say he's on Monday nights, I believe, after Nate on Narrow Minded Mondays. And I was on there a couple weeks ago, and it was funny. It was Sparky on there asked, to me, a difficult question. The funny thing is, Sparky, now you got to remember, Sparky's an electrician, and I'm a contractor guy. So the two of us should kind of know, between the two of us should know this kind of thing. But anyways, Sparky asked the question, will AC phasing affect your DCC? And it's a really good question, and it's an advanced electrical question, and I all of a sudden got worried because I did a lot of the wiring down here. I've got a pony panel, and most of my circuits, well, no, all of my circuits for down in the basement come off of one side of the panel. So I write on there, I'm like, wait a second, that he could be onto something. So I write on there too. So wait a second, if I wired everything off of one side of the panel, would that affect the operation of my DCC system? Would that be the same phase off of one side? So Tom, out of nowhere, off the cuff, live on the air, with everything going on, right? All this graphics and all this, he goes, no, Ben, it will not, because in your panel, on your one side of the panel, your phasing goes back and forth. One phase is here, and then the other phase is here. One phase is here, one phase is here, one phase is here. And I'm like, oh my goodness, the guy's right. This guy's a genius. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tell Tom I did this. Sir, you get this. The bow down. Amazing. So cool. I was so impressed. I couldn't believe he pulled that off live on the air like that. So awesome. So Tom, that's to you. That's your big shout out, my friend. So anyways, let's just jump back into the chat. I want to see what you guys are up to here. Let's see. All right, looks like everybody's just saying hello. Things are good here. Kevin, DCC is single phase. Yeah, but see, what Tom is saying is apparently in the big scale, like in G and stuff, for some reason, let's say you had I think the question was if you had a booster. So if you had let's say you have the brain on one phase, and then you had the booster on another phase. And that's what originally I was going to have. Jason, good to see you, man. That's awesome. And Dwight, hello. And there's SF Ratton. Is that New Zealand? SF Ratton NZ. Good to see you. And there's James. Yes, so that, yeah, we all know it's single phase, but apparently it can, I don't know, apparently in the bigger scales it can affect it. I'm not gonna get into it, but anyways, yeah, Tom he nailed it. It was a really good answer what he gave. All right. Okay, so everybody's saying households. You're right, but when it happens in the panel, you've got basically your neutral that comes in, and then you have a red and the black, which is the two other phases, right? So what Sparky was asking is if you had one phase powering one thing and another phase powering the booster, would that affect it? And with our stuff, no, it doesn't. But apparently in bigger scales, it can. I've never heard of this, but apparently it is true. But we don't have to worry about it. So nobody has to worry. Don't worry. No big deal. All right. Anyways, let's go back. So everybody's just saying hello. Let's see here. let's go in. So I've got a new thing that I've been doing on here because this has kind of become the home base as this is progressing back here, and things are starting to get interesting, right? So what I've been liking to do is kind of go through some questions from the recent uploads I've done, and I've been having some fun with that, and you guys seem to be enjoying it. So the first one is Inkrails. See, Inkrails, I was going to talk about you. So this goes to the layout update video. And what he said, great update, Ben. Well, thank you, Inkrails. Can't wait to see what you have in store. Next, you should do a roster update on the locomotives that you have. And I thought, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. I'm not going to show you guys everything because I have quite a few, but I'll show you some of my main guys, the main stars of the show here. So I guess what we'll start with, we'll start with my SW1200 RS because this is something that I've just recently did some weathering on. See if that'll focus. So I just add a little, I like to add a little black to kind of represent where the diesel exhaust has come out, and I did a bit of, on the trucks a little and stuff. So that's the SW1200 RS by Rapido. It's fully sound equipped, great running logo. I got that secondhand off of eBay, and hey Sparky, it's actually right beside me if you need to get a hold of me. So yeah, the SW1200 RS, it runs great. It's completely prototypical for this railroad, for this time. I love it, runs great. Rapido did a really great job on it. The next one I wanted to show you guys is, this is an old Atlas RS3. This is the old classic series. Now this is going to be an upcoming project. This is going to be going in for surgery sooner than later. I have a few jobs to do first. The first one is the 10-wheeler that you guys know about that I'm going to give you a little preview of, and I also have a brass mogul that I'm going to show you. I want to do them first, but then this guy's going to go in. And oh, thanks Chris. If anybody what was I going to say? If anybody, so some basic things you can do with these. So I'm not like a crazy prototype guy, but I like doing a little bit of the Canadian style stuff. So the main thing I'm going to do with this is basically you take off these horns, and there's a little bracket that goes on here. That's basically like the SW1200, same thing, Canadian National, if you see the horn up there. And they had the 3 chime horn up here. Another thing is they had a bell out front, which is very classic. Normally a winterization hatch was up here, and sometimes exhaust stack was a little higher. So I'm going to do all that and then just add some classification lights on the front, which I already have those from my steam engine project. So it's basically the same ones. Now you can go way further than that. Like the headlight was basically recessed and turned the other way, and it had like basically a big glass headlight on the front, and the number boards are actually on the front on these guys too. I think because when I was at the Durham Heritage Railroad Company, they had some of these, and the number boards were here, and they told me they were old CNRs, but from what I've seen in all the pictures and stuff, the number boards are on the front. So anyways, so Heath's saying it's freezing. Sorry man, I don't know, I've got a good connection here, so I know a lot of people just reset or what do you call it? Refresh, and hopefully that helps. So anyways, that's the RS3. So that's a project that's going to come up very soon. Another thing I'll share with you guys really quick. This is one of my earliest DCC installs when I was a kid. So that's how long I've had this. And this is actually the engine that got me into this paint scheme. I was a big CN fan, big wet noodle fan. And as soon as I saw this, I'm like, oh my goodness, like that is so cool, so classic, so 50s, right? So I just fell in love with it, and that's where I fell in love with this paint scheme. So enough about that. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Little nod to that, because a lot of people ask my favorite engine. I gotta really say Atlas. That thing is probably 25 years old. And when I converted it to DCC, I even took out some of the weight to get the decoder in and to get the lights in there and everything. That thing still pulls the best up this Helix no problems. It's the most silent running engine I have. It's just an absolute beauty. Okay, so here we go with another one. This is another Atlas. This hasn't been weathered or anything. I'll probably just leave this stock. Eventually, I'll probably get around this. It's not coming up anytime soon because it's not prototypical really to run. The only time I've seen this paint scheme was out of the Spadina yard, something like that in Toronto. So it'd be unlikely that it would visit here, but it's something maybe I'd run on an extra. That's kind of what I'm doing with my diesels that don't really fit. They run extras, so then it kind of makes sense. But this is the first decoder I ever blew up. I've only blown up one, and this is the one. What happened was I already had this prepped for decoder install, so I had it stripped and the motor insulated, and somebody told me, oh, you get these MRC sound decoders that pop right in. So I did it, and what happened, I can't remember how I did it. I had it backwards or something, and anyways, it blew up the decoder. So that's why I really hate plug and play. A lot of people would disagree with that, but plug and play, I really prefer hardwiring, just because I know where everything's going, and that's what happened. This is a plug and play, and poof. And you're supposed to be able to send the decoder back, and I was too lazy and never did, because they had like a kind of you get out of jail free card type thing once with no questions asked, and I never did it. Something else I wanted to share with you guys. I'm gonna show you guys. Okay, before we do that, what do we got here? This is a Proto 1000 F3. And I also have the B unit for this. Now this does not have it, this isn't DCC or nothing, it's still straight DC. I also have the B unit for this. This is something that someday I would like to run on this on a grain extra, like a larger train. I also have a snowplow extra I want to do. I have the snowplow now, so I was thinking that would look pretty cool and look realistic pushing that. Normally, from what I remember, it's F7s that were up here, but the F3, still good enough. Cool. Nate's saying MRC decoders are junk. Yeah, you know what, Nate? Back then, it was decent, but now they don't sound good at all compared to your soundtracks and stuff like that. James, you're saying your wife is from Cambridge. That's cool, and that's where Sparky is. And my aunt, I spent a lot of time in Cambridge when I was a kid because my aunt and my cousins lived in Cambridge. So let's see here. I'm just kind of following along with you guys. I've been blabbing away. Oh, that's cool. Sparky just said all his super chats Wednesday night are going to go to Tony. I think he's too shy to ask. That's really cool, Sparky, because he does. I wasn't sure if he would want help or not, but I'm sure all the help he could get would be great, because he's going to have to pour Crete and get some, looks like some pretty decent plumbing put in there and everything. And so yeah, so that's really cool, Sparky, that you're doing that. So something else I wanted to show you guys, now there has been some controversy lately that I've seen with Proto 2000, and that's why I'm showing you guys these tonight. This is a Proto 2000. Now this is a custom paint job. This is completely custom that I did years ago. This is a C-liner. So I actually, when I first started on YouTube, I uploaded a video about materials that I use, and I talked about Testor's dull coat, and I talked about some pinstriping that I did with a pen, and it ran. That was this one right here. So these lines on here, I did that by hand. You can see it's kind of waving here, but I mean, I was young, and I did it by hand. That's not a decal. That striping, that's hand painted. The Canadian National, of course, is a decal, but the striping and everything is hand done. So that's a C-liner. Canadian Locomotive Works, and they were powered by Fairbanks Morse engines. These, I don't think would ever have been up in my area. I don't think there's any way. So it's something, who knows? Don't really have any plans for it right now. I do also have a B unit for this that is also done, that's painted, and I have another A unit, so it's an ABA consist. That maybe when I go visit a big railroad, if I ever do it like a big railroad like Sparky's or Chris Ward's, I could take them and run them on there. They would be more suitable for there. It would be a pretty cool consist when it's going and you got power going. So we were talking about, it was me and Harrison off SMT, and he was saying, basically a Proto 2000 is a blue box, an Athearn blue box, and that's not true at all. I think what he was confusing is the Proto 2000 was made by Lifelike. Lifelike had basically like a toy level of locomotive, and they were very much like blue box. But the Proto 2000 are beautiful engines, and there's some kind of going back and forth about you know, this and that, and Walther's taking over, and so I'll show you right now. They are, I don't know if you can see it. It's the engine we're going to run in a bit. It's back here. No, my microphone's in the way. Okay, I'll show it. You guys will see it later. But back there, I've got a Canadian National Lifelike Proto 2000 shell on a Walther's Proto 2000 body. And I don't show the top of that a lot. I was going to show it to you, but I'm going to run it tonight. But I don't show it because I had to cut out the part that reflects the light, and I did it with my Dremel. I ended up burning the top out. But it ended up being okay because I have to add some details, and I'm going to show you what those details look like right now. So this is the difference. This is an old Athearn blue box that I custom painted and did a bit of detailing on. So this is one right here. So that's a blue box. Now the biggest thing about the blue box is, you see how wide that is? They're known for being too wide. They screwed up with the molding. It's a mistake. But I still like them. I love my blue box. But this is one I did when I was younger. So I custom painted it, did the decals. I added these spark arresters up here. And this is how 1726 over there is going to look. It'll have the spark arresters. You move the horn up here, 3-chime horn up here. You got the bell in the front. Canadian National always ran long nose forward. And apparently this was due to the guys transitioning over from steam. They hated driving this way. They just hated the feeling of going across grade crossings and stuff. And I get it. I always thought that was weird. Like, you're in this huge locomotive. Like, why would you care? But when I was actually in the train, if you guys get a chance to see that when I got to drive the Elco unit, it is a spooky feeling. Because it's hard to explain. Like, it's not like you think you're going to get hurt, but it's just this dangerous feeling. So I get it. So that's why I put a plow on the front. You can see it there. I got to get the, I think there's, no, I got to put some MU hoses on it. But that's an old custom that I did, an old custom blue box. I've got 3 of these. And like I said, these they would run up. They ran later, probably more getting into the 60s, like the early 60s. This would start coming up because at that time, when did these come out? Like 54, 56. They'd be more on the main line. So these are showing up on the by Capriol and stuff, coming out of Toronto. Big Large consists, but again, that's why stuff like this will run on extras. So to be more prototypical, we've got the SW1200 RS, which totally ran. This is my only brass I have. And I bought this out in Calgary when I used to work for the company that I'm working for now, actually. Oh shoot, I touched my keyboard. You guys are all, everybody okay? We're okay. Okay. This is a Brass Mogul 260. So this guy, after the first 10-wheeler I do, this guy is going in for surgery, and this is going to turn into 81. Yeah, 81. The reason I'm doing that, 81 had a taller bunker like that, coal bunker. So, speaking of steam, we'll get into that in a second, actually. So this engine, what I'm going to do, it just needs the number plate on the front, but I am going to strip it down, repaint it, and I do lighted number boards on the front. So you can get those, if anybody's looking for Canadian National parts, or Grand Trunk, or Canadian Pacific, or Sioux Line, stuff like that. Company to check out is Miniatures by Eric. That's what most of my detail parts are that I use. They're still around. So apparently Eric has passed away. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but that's what I heard. His kids have taken over, and I've ordered lots of stuff. Great service. It comes in the mail. Everything's still good. So that's what's happening. And so Nate's saying that's 89 Sister. Yes, 100%. That's it. And I actually had a guy on Instagram message me about that. No, sorry. He saw these beginnings of the 10-wheeler, and he was asking about the headlight dropping the headlight down. And I replied to him, that's exactly what that is. Miniatures by Eric. You can get the bracket, the headlight, and everything. You're good to go. So, little surprise here. I'm going to show you guys Frankenstein so you guys know that I'm not lying. This is the old Varney. So as you can see, it's getting painted up here. And I'm calling it Frankenstein because this is just all testing. So this is an old, basic, very similar to brass. This is the first 10-wheel that I'm working on. This is going to be number 1530. And I'm not showing you guys the boiler yet because that's the big reveal. That is pretty well complete. It turned out awesome. But what I'm doing here is basically testing. I remotored it with this little gear motor here, which is really loud, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But what I got on here is an old Lentz decoder. And the reason why I'm doing that is because this is an old cheap decoder that I had from years ago. I basically wanted to get all-wheel pickup on this. And by doing that, I ran the risk of shorting it out. So what I did, if you guys remember, I did a video on liquid electrical tape. I used that. I coated the whole body with that to isolate it, and then I epoxied my pickups on there. And so I wanted to test it with this. And so it is working. Now, one thing I'll tell you, I've cleaned these wheels. I've cleaned them. I've cleaned them again. 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 And I've cleaned them again. And they're still dirty. And the thing still is like, it goes, on this new rail, it goes pretty good, but it's really picky. So what I got to do is get the tender. The tender's basically a kit bash. It's an old Bachmann tender that I cut down. I just got to add a few details to it. So the tender will also have all-wheel pickup. So we'll have all-wheel pickup on the Loco and the tender. And then this finally came in the mail, which I've been waiting for. I'm going to give, all my other steam engines at the club, I have 3 down there at the club. They're all Soundtracks. But I thought I'd give Wow Sound. Now, some people, Nate was telling me, and James were saying that there's been a lot of problems with these. One thing I've noticed right off the hop is their wiring diagram. So just me from doing a number of them, you got your orange and gray go to your motor, red and black are your pickups, blue's your common, yellow, and I think white's your headlight, yellow's your backup light, I can't remember, purple's your speakers. Anyways, their wiring diagram is weird, so I'm wondering if people are screwing them up, because they do say, yeah, there's James there, he's saying TCS Wow is crap. So I'm wondering if people are miswiring them. I'm going to try it. We'll see. If not, I'm going to go. All my other ones, like for the Mogul, I'm going back with Soundtracks for sure, because I'm just a big fan of Soundtracks. I've always used them. Tried, tested, and true. So Humanity, you're saying, try cleaning the wheels on this guy? Yeah, I did. And over and over and over. So I just got to keep cleaning them. They're that old. I forget what you call that metal. It's the same thing that's on the old Blue Box Athearn wheels. It's like this kind of nickel that doesn't conduct electricity very well, and it's dirty and this and that. But yeah, anyways, so this is what I'm testing. So as you guys know, if you've watched the Helix update, you know I'm having problems pulling up here. So I have one word for you that really worries me, and it's this: steam. If any of you run steam, like I've always have, they don't pull worth a damn, and it's already having major problems with this. So I've talked to my hobby shop. Thank goodness they're opening up. See if he had that bullfrog snot. I'm going to try putting it on the front tire. Apparently it works really good. My hope is to get 6 cars up with this, or the passenger train. Because if I can't pull the passenger train with steam, I'm screwed. Because that's like the whole plan of the entire layout. So if that doesn't work, that's going to really suck. So we'll see how it goes. You guys can keep updated on that, and we'll see. So Nate's saying use conductor lube at the X. I've tried, you know what? I've tried that too, Nate. The other problem is I don't want it to. I've tried it on my pickups. It's okay. It runs okay. I think too when I have the capacitor with the decoder and I have to pick up on the tender, it should be fine. But we'll see. It's been an adventure. So what I'm waiting for on that, the main thing now is the speakers, and they should have been here a long time ago. I ordered them before the decoder, so that's when I said it's almost ready. It's going to be going. The speakers haven't come. I ordered a pack of them, of 8 of them, of mini speakers, and they're not here. So yeah. So Nate's saying that WAV sound quality control is not consistent. Yeah, so we will see. We will see what happens. Somebody asked, I think it was Inked Rails earlier. I caught it. Creator, what are your thoughts on CN's modern paint scheme, as you have a lot of old paint scheme? So here's the funny thing with me. I used to be a big fan when I was a kid. I loved the wet noodle. But to be honest, now I don't like it. I really don't. I love the old classic gold and olive drab, they call it. I just, the CN, and the funny thing is, when CN came out with that way back in the day, they won all kinds of marketing and advertising awards with that. They thought it was so cool and all that. And it is cool, but I mean, I still love my, I just love the green and gold. And the funny thing is that I think this Jeep here that I just showed you guys, that was a wet noodle. So I took a number of my wet noodles and stripped them down and converted them to green. So anyways, that was a really good question from Inkrel. Not really a question, I guess, a request. There's more. I'll probably do an upload of it, but it takes a long time, right? Like, look at the time already. That's just going through a few of them. But that's probably the diesels that I'll run. The rest are going to be all steam. So I did another video, and this is a really great comment by Art. Now, I thought this video was about cork roadbed. And I thought this video was going to cause a lot more controversy than it did. I was really nervous. Actually, as soon as I did, I'm like, man, why did I even do this? Like, I shouldn't have. So I was kind of like, upload. And I did it. And everybody was pretty good about it. So thank you, everyone, for sticking with me and not getting too riled up, because it is a controversial subject. But I think at the end of the day, when I said basically it's up to you and follow the prototype, I think that's good advice. Now you're going to hear tonight, no cork, it does make noise. You're going to hear it. But what I'm saying is I don't mind it. So it's something you kind of got to look into. I've had friends that say they don't like styrofoam because they use styrofoam, it's really loud and this and that. And then what I noticed when I put the fascia board on, that made it like a loud box. And that really amplifies. So the SW1200, it's got a bit of a vibration problem. It's loud. So anyways, thank you, everybody. But there was a really great comment by Art, and Art always comments. He wrote on here, in the good old days of non-sound locals with open frame motors, mounting your track directly to plywood was equivalent to building a loudspeaker. Traditionally, Homosote was used as a sub-roadbed to address that issue. The Homosote product is now marketed specifically as a sound barrier. Plus, it was great for spiking down track. Cork roadbed was primarily used to provide the ballast profile, although using just the cork between the track and plywood would help reduce the resonant noise. Today, with so many people using extruded foam for their benchtop along with the volume level of the onboard simulated sounds, the sound isolation argument mostly falls by the wayside. Just my opinion, Art. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I love that comment because Art, I know right by there, that's an old school model railroader that really knows what he's talking about. And I know he knows what he's talking about because he's talking about Homosote. And Homosote you don't hear about much often anymore. It was used all the time. I actually considered using it here because that was something I could go right on top of it without cork. But I just decided with all the sound and everything it wasn't necessary. He's talking about open frame motor, so that's stuff like this, like in the old brass. These were vibrated a lot and were noisy. So anyways, Homosote, we actually use Homosote at work. We use it to make pin boards. It's really hard to find. So I did have access to it, but I just didn't decide to use it. But I thought that was a really great comment that he made because that it was a risky video. Let's just leave it at that. It was a risky video to do, but I'm glad that everybody took it in stride. Lots of different comments. I loved everybody's opinions. Another one that stuck out, I thought, was Mark from M&M Rails. He said, "Oh, I screwed up. I shouldn't have used cork on my sidings." I think I said, and I didn't say that. Some other people said that, but my response to that was, it doesn't matter. That's not a mistake. Do what the prototype does, because especially, and so, you're going to see it when we get into own sound. It's a thing too. I couldn't figure out for the longest time why the turntable was raised up. It's kind of weird. There's almost a ramp up to the turntable. And my opinion is, it wasn't for the turntable, it's for the roundhouse and the bunkhouse for drainage. Because you wouldn't want to drain water into that old wooden building. It'd just be a muddy, sloppy mess. I don't know 100% if that's why, but there's just so many things with it. So anyways, I just wanted to say thanks everybody for the comments on that video. And thank you, Art, for the great, awesome, amazing comment. I thought that was so great. I loved seeing that. So cool, you bringing up Homosoap. Question number 3. Okay, now we're going to get into the Helix. This is the Helix video. Norman Rose, hi, great stuff. Beautiful work on the Helix. A suggestion. If you enclose it, make sure it's removable. Roy S. learned his lesson. He had to open his back up. See you next time. So, here's the thing, Norman. It is going to be closed. It is. I don't have a choice, and it won't be removable. It could be, but it's going to be, it'd be a pain because I'm going to have scenery. So basically what you're seeing right here, I'll turn this camera a little bit. What you're seeing right here, this part here, this is new. So this is where the bridge is coming out. So this eventually, this is just tacked right now, thumbtacks. This is going to come out. This is where the bridge scene will be. And then in behind here, this will be covered. So about half of it on the front. So basically from over there to just back by those trees back there, it's going to be painted out with same blue sky, and then the scenery is going to tie it all in. And then the next level will be up here, the top of the Helix, and that level will also have lighting in it to shine down on this level, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm trying so hard to get this running flawlessly, because I could, if I do run into problems. And another thing I'm worried about with this is expansion, because I had that happen on my first railroad, and you hear people talk about it. If it's already so finicky, if we get expansion on this, it's gonna be such a pain to deal with. But I mean, what can you do? Maybe I'll add a couple expansion joints, so we'll see how it works out. But we'll see. But anyways, Norman, great suggestion. And it's funny you said that, because Roy S., I said that in the video. Roy S., I saw that. I'm sure other people have done it, but the notched style of risers, I thought that was cool. I was also kind of watching Sparky's and checking Sparky's out in the background and seeing how he did his. And so lots of shout outs to lots of people, me just watching live streams and shows, and I kind of did it and thought it up in my head, and away we went. And what I did to do those notches, best way would be with a dado blade on a table saw, but I did it with I have a sliding compound, and I just went, and the one thing I did was I was worried about the because you do have a slope. So if I went half-inch tight, how was I going to make that slope? The wood was going to kind of go like this. So what I did was I just cut it an extra. I made sure that the bottoms of every notch was perfectly measured out, and then at the top of each notch, I just added an extra, about a half a blade, just under 1/8 of an inch, right, to give it a little bit of space so I could still fit it in there. And then when I put them together, I push them down, hold them, countersink it, and then drill it in like that. Sorry, I keep looking up here. I should be looking at you guys here, but that is that. So guys, we're moving along pretty good here. So that's thank you, Norman, for the advice. I know I'm crazy. I am gonna go for it, and we'll see what happens. Let's just jump into the chat real quick. Sparky saying, leave it open. It's so cool watching trains in a Helix. Thanks for those very nice words, Benny. I've been around for quite a while. Nice, Art. I knew it, man. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows. That's pretty awesome. Homosoap is a very fiber-like material. I don't even think it's a wood product like MDF and pressboard. It's more, and the funny thing, guys, I meant to cut you a piece today to show you what it is. It's almost like, if you could imagine, if you took cardboard and paper and you shredded it like really, 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 really fine, you know, dust, and just barely put it together. It's not very strong this way. It's floppy. Yeah, and it's almost like a cardboardy, papery type material that looks like MDF, but it's not. It's about that thick. And yeah. Okay, so Humanity's saying he's not a fan of the Helix, and You know what? Roy Smith did an amazing video. It's when I first subbed to Roy Smith is because he had a video about what do you hate about your railroad. Is that a good Roy Smith impression? And what he said he hated was the helix. And I'm already seeing it. I get what he's talking about. There's more track in the stupid helix than there is, I think, on my entire railroad. And you're going to see here in a sec. I'll get it going. It takes a while to get through there. All right, so Chasko's saying, DeBob's, I know DeBob, his helix is closed but hinged, so he can access the innards if needed. So it's not hinged, but I do have access. There's totally access to get inside. So I can. If there's problems, you can get in there. I don't want to, though, because it's a pain, because you got to crawl on your hands and knees underneath to go in there. But another thing I want to do, I've been messing around with the idea of a camera, like a security camera in there with a screen mounted up on the light valance when I get that up, or maybe a mirror so you can watch the train. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to mess around with it and see. I do like the camera idea, but it seems to be a bit of a pain to get it going. All right, everybody's talking. So that was a good comment. See, everybody's going on about the homoso. Totally good comment. So what I'm going to do here, guys, let's see, where is it? I'm going to bring up my second screen here. Now you guys can see your chat going here too, so you're just seeing live here. I'm going to blow this up for you so you can see what this looks like. This is the Digikai's in-house throttle controller, and as you can see, I've got F8 going on there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit F8, and I've got 1726 dialed up here. So I'm going to unmute it. I'm going to turn on my light, and so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut this down a bit just so you can kind of see. So I am up there, but yeah, so do that. Now the cool thing with the Digikais is I can do my effects with the F buttons on the keyboard. So I've got my bell here. I hope you guys can hear that. Oh, I didn't transition this, sorry guys. There we go. So I've got the bell going there. And we can do, oh, I gotta click here. Gotta click back on my throttle. And there's our horn. And I can use, should be able to use the keys here. So I'm in forward, yeah, there we go. And I'm using the up key on my keyboard to get it going. Oh yeah, she's going. So bear with me if we have any problems here. So you can see it just crossing in the back there. And we'll turn off that bell. So we'll let that go and see how it does, and we'll just keep chatting away. And if I stop paying attention, it starts going off. So just remind me in the chat here so I don't break something. So Vinny's saying, Sparky, you have more double of what I have. You're talking about like all of Sparky's rolling stock and locomotives and stuff? He does have quite a bit of stuff, doesn't he? Hey, there's Roy! Hey! Good to see you, Roy. I don't know if you heard, I was just talking about you with the Helix, how you inspired it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm multitasking. I'm doing this on the computer, so you can see it. So you can see it going around in the back there. I'm just going to click over here once again. Now, the thing with this engine, I have a lot of momentum on it, so I got to be careful. I'm going to take it off because it's actually kind of annoying for switching. So while you guys can kind of watch that climb on up, we'll see how it does. It should be fine. I've tested it a number of times in there, so it should be good. Let's see what you guys are saying. Just mentioning this again, and we'll run time at the end. All my super chats Wednesday night, this is from Sparky everybody, will go to Tony. I think he's too shy to ask. And thanks again, Sparky, for saying that. As we were saying before, Tony had the flood, so we're I just revved her up a little bit. Yeah, Tony had the flood. So Sparky's going to donate all his super chats to Tony to help him out with that, to give him some assistance. So you guys, I hope you guys can see that. It's going on up. Frank Neer, good to see you, man. I have watched him, and I think he does a lot of. I have seen that he does a lot of climbing. I didn't have the room for that down here, so basically I've got a 10 by 10 foot room here, and then a long hallway. So this railroad is point to point. I did double stack levels, so I could get just more switching and more towns in between. But the club that I used to run at, the Scarborough Model Railroaders, they had a track plan very much like NS, what's his name? Like he does, same styles, it climbs, and that's a place where I had trouble with my steam engines too. Is they had a steep grade on the one part and a curve that caused issues. Oh, I think she might be stuck over there. Oh no, she's not. So there's one spot over there. I gotta, and that's what I was talking about in that video when I said don't mess with your. Elevations. I did that over there. I shimmed it up, and so I got to take that shim out and just finish the bench work a bit and mess around with it before I go any further. But there she goes. So just another thing I wanted to show you guys. Something I've been doing. We were talking about cars last time on the live stream. And I wanted to show you this. It's an old. This is a '53 station wagon, and I bought this for my daughter. Because what we've been doing, she's been spending a lot of time with me down here. She's been enjoying over there where the train just was. There's a horse sitting over there, and she loves putting that horse on this engine. So I have to be careful that she doesn't break the rails and stuff, or the grab irons. But she puts the horse in there, and the horse goes for a ride, and we have a lot of fun with it. So what I'm doing when everything finally opens up here, I'm gonna bring her to the hobby shop with me and let her pick out some people for herself that she can play with on the railroad and play. And I'm buying her cars, and so as long as they're era specific, that's the only rule I have. They have to be era specific, and she can play with them on there. So as Seth Bratton is asking what grade the Helix is, it's 2.5%. But the issue is. The issue is the 24-inch radius, which I didn't consider to be that much of a problem. I thought 2.5%, that'll be fine, like no problem. But the tight 24-inch radius has been causing problems. Thank you, Dave. Great to see you. Have a great night. Take care. But yeah, with the 24-inch radius, it causes problems. And I think it was Sparky, somebody commented, like, it adds a lot of pressure on the wheels, which is funny. I knew that from the prototype from that time I got to drive the train engine, which is a cool video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But I never thought of it on the model. It's funny how the models are so much like the prototype, because I remember the engineer was telling me when we were going to curve, we'd have to notch up and get ready for it and be notched up before you'd hit that curve because it took so much power. And that was only 4 passenger cars on the real thing. So yeah. Anyways. Oh, and you guys are talking, and Roy, I did see you, Container Man, I saw you come in there. Yeah, you're saying don't cheat on your rehab, so I'm glad to see you're feeling better and that your knee's doing okay. So Rob saying curvature is the same gradient. So that's something I'll have to look into, is what it means, because people are saying that, like, there must be a calculation to calculate, because like Rob was saying on one of the comments, it would be more like, be probably more like a 3% grade. In HL, you want a 26-inch minimum radius helix. The rule of thumb is 30 to 36, 32 to 36 for modern long stock. Yeah, so I went with 24. That's my minimum. And the reason is because I have so much, I wanted a good amount of room in here. And then something else you got to consider is my space from the wall. So there's a space of the wall to get the risers, plus the width to have clearance. Then I had to have space over on this side where I wanted a little bit of scenery to continue. So I went with it. For what I'm doing, for the wave rates and stuff, it's fine. So this is about the largest train I'm going to go with a single diesel. And this would be the largest train that a Wave Freight would run anyways. So on the prototype, some people were asking about that. On the prototype, the grain extras were longer trains, and they were actually double-headed. And so that's what I'm going to do on this. So a grain train will be double-headed if they're longer, so basically over 8 cars. So it's 9 to 10 with the van it can do, but 8's playing it safe. So anyways, they will be double-headed, but the Wave Freights and stuff are not that big. They're maximum about 6 cars, so it should be okay. Like I said earlier, though, I'm worried about the steam engines. That's going to be a problem. So I'm hoping that snot stuff helps out. So anyways, guys, I wanted to talk about some more stuff, but I think that's going to do it. We did pretty good for time. The train made it up. We're here. So if you guys want, does anybody have any announcements they'd like to make? Any big releases they're doing? Any live streams they want to promote? Anything like that? Go ahead and throw that on there. Yeah. So Frank, I actually did, and a lot of it too, I did the small curve on purpose because on this was an old branch line, what I'm modeling, and it actually was, it really did have tight curves and light bridges and tight turnouts and stuff, especially in Owen Sound. Like even in Owen Sound, there was one factory, Black Clawson, they weren't even allowed to run Pacifics in there. Nothing over the 10-wheeler could go in there, and they actually had to use idler cars because it was so tight and everything. So that's I did it a little bit on purpose, but I will admit on the Helix I do wish I could have gone bigger, and I said that in the video. Do I wish I had gone bigger? Yes, but if I did it again, would I do it differently? No, I wouldn't, because I am happy with the space I have. It is running fine. It's running, I'm just a little bit worried with the passenger cars, but we'll have to see. Passenger cars with steam engine, that's going to be the problem. Any Helix is better than no Helix. That's right, Peter. Thank you. Ben, would the Helix be a big mountain, or would it be backdrop? So it's basically a backdrop, and then basically above this level, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to come around, and I'm thinking it's going to be close. This area is close to where I grew up when I was around, my first model railroad, I was around 12, 13. So I want to model a farm in there to kind of do a little nod to that. Then we're into Parkhead. So it'll be basically the scenery will block the view. But up here, it won't be backdrop. You'll see the sky back there on the wall. That'll build into it. So no mountain sort of thing. It's a bit hilly in that region, but nothing crazy. So I was talking, and yeah, Rob's saying the steamers will slip like crazy due to less driving wheels and a rigid frame without blind drivers. Yes, I know. This one that I got here doesn't climb at all. It sucks. So we'll see what happens. But it's even having. I'm gonna try that snot. People say it works. We'll see. So Peter, CP Rail saying easements are fine, are in rise a little. It doesn't look right too much. The freight cars start wobbler, fall overdue excessively. So yeah, I didn't do any of that. I didn't do easements on this because this, like I said, this is a really old branch line. Old stick rail, old second-hand rail. Bridges, like some of the bridges came from Montreal and stuff in different areas. So I really wanted to capture that. So it's slow running. It's slow running, small trains. Basically everything was very well thought out and planned, so I don't really have regrets, and I know I will get a bit of flack on the 24-inch, but I mean, I planned it that way, and making it work. Sparky saying I can go and paint the clouds on his walls. Small job, yeah, right. That'd be insane. That's when you might want to do a store-bought backdrop. Best way of doing them is strips of masking tape and a few layers to start, and then add layers till train looks just right. For easements, that would probably be a good idea. But like I said, I'm not doing easements on this. That's more mainline stuff. Hello. Here's my little girl, everybody. You haven't seen her. This is Millie. This is my little helper. Want to say hi? Look at, that's her car. So with that, guys, I guess that's it for me. I hope you guys have a great night. As always, stay creative. Happy model railroading. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.